Hey everyone, I'm your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. This is your astrology horoscope for the full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, which happens on Wednesday, May 26, 2021 at 7:12 a.m. Eastern time or 4:12 a.m. Pacific time, depending upon which part of the country that it is that you're in, if you're in the United States, or really even what part of the world that it is that you are in as well. Now, what I think is going on at this time is that we are really trying to more fully complete and step into some new and better chapter in life that I've been talking about for a while, but we still feel like something is missing, and in particular, like it's something from the past that was not ended right or that was not begun right in the way that it is that it needed to be, that's now really weighing on us, that we really need to get the courage up to do and the beliefs up to do in order to fix it finally and move on into this new chapter in life so that we can finally live it without stressing so much. All right, so that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. If you want to hear more about that, please stay tuned, because I think I'm going to hop in right now and get into it. In order to get started, what I like to do first is place it on the chart just so that you can see what it is that I am talking about here and follow along with me. So I'm going to do that now. The first thing I got to do is place the full moon, because the full moon has to do with the moon. I'm going to look for that. Here's the moon symbol in this chart in Sagittarius, and the moon in this chart is exactly opposite the sun over here in Gemini. When the moon opposes the sun, that's what it makes a full moon. Okay, how do I know that this is an eclipse? I know that it's an eclipse because we have the moon here very close to the south node, and we've got the sun here very close to the north node. And the nodal axis, which is what the south and north node are a part of, is basically a point in space in which the sun, the moon, and the earth align. And when the sun and the moon are at the point in space where the sun, the moon, and the earth align, an eclipse happens. So that's where we are right now. Eclipses occur in pairs, usually in pairs, though there are exceptions, but usually occur in pairs, twice of them that happen at once, and about twice a year, every 6 months. Okay, so that's what's going on there. What exactly does this mean per se? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is start with the full moon. What are full moons about? Full moons to me bring something to fullness. They bring something to fullness, something to completion. Why do they bring something to fullness and completion? So that we can end that thing, whatever that is, and focus on something else 2 weeks from now at the next new moon, which in this case is going to be a solar eclipse in Gemini. Okay, because this is a lunar eclipse, this full moon is super powered. It's super big. So this is a super big completion of some sort, or a super big ending, so that we can eventually focus on something else. Okay. Before I explain more of what the super big completion is this time around, I do want to give you a note here on time frames. Because this is an eclipse, the effects typically do last and are with us for the next 6 months until the next eclipse happens. Okay, so what could go on now, we could be feeling for the next 6 months. I should also note as well that even though we could be feeling the effects of this eclipse for the next 6 months, they typically do have impacts that last well beyond that last well beyond the 6-month time period into many months and years after this. That's because eclipses happen on the nodal axis, and the nodal axis is about our purpose in life. It's about our destiny. It's about our karma. So a lot of the things that eclipses bring, even though it's super top of mind for the next 6 months, bring big fated events that are really important to our purpose, if you will, and to our destiny, which is why they may linger. Okay, a typical full moon, I should note, newer full moon, you only feel for about a month to 6 months tops. Eclipses, 6 months to years that you'll feel. So these are a pretty big deal here. Not only should I say that eclipses are a pretty big deal here, but they do tend to bring major events or bring things, especially with this full moon, to light that have been hidden. So that's what I'm going to say there so far. Now, what is this super big completion that's going on at this time that's bringing something big to light that may impact our life for many months and years to come, and that is a part of our destiny? What is that? Sagittarius. Okay, because that's the sign that it's in. What is Sagittarius all about? Well, Sagittarius to me is the sign of something new and different and better, and typically a good thing, a new adventure. That to me is because Sagittarius is ruled by the planet of Jupiter, and Jupiter is a planet of gifts and good luck. So what are we doing? One of the interpretations at this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, we are really trying to more fully, full moon, step into and complete some new, better, and blessed chapter of life that I've been talking about in every single one of my videos since the last eclipse in Sagittarius 6 months ago. Okay, to more fully get that show on the road, to move it forward, not to end a new chapter in life, but to end the completion, to end the setting up of the new chapter, so that we can move forward. Okay, what else is Sagittarius about? Another thing to me too that Sagittarius is about is also but where do I want to go? Our belief systems here about our life and about what's happened to us in the past and about where things are going in the future. So not only is this full moon lunar eclipse here about us finally completing and stepping into some new chapter in life we've been trying to get on the road for a while, but it's also about us as well adjusting our belief systems too, really changing our belief systems and adjusting and changing our belief systems so that we can let go of all the old beliefs that do not support this new and better chapter in life, and so that we can formulate other ones that allow us to move forward in a new and different way and allow us to receive more of this abundance and receive more of these things into our lives instead of blocking our blessings and shutting down. Okay, so big things that are going on there. Not only is Sagittarius about our belief systems, but kind of piggybacking off of that, it's also about wisdom and understanding about ourselves and our situation. So not only at this full moon are we trying to more fully complete and step into some new and better chapter of life more fully, or complete the setting up of the new and better chapter in life, and adjust our beliefs accordingly so that we can accept this new chapter in life and receive it. But we're also at this full moon lunar eclipse, I think, getting major understandings about ourselves and who we are and our journey and our path as well. And that understanding and that wisdom, I think, serving also with the Jupiter influence to empower us, because not only is Sagittarius about all of those things, but Sagittarius to me is a fire sign, not just to me, to everyone. It's a fire sign. And the fire signs to me are happy signs, or happy, optimistic signs that are very passionate, and that can be very driven in a lot of ways as well. So I think what's going on, just to continue stringing the pieces together, is that at this full moon lunar eclipse, we are trying to more fully step into some new chapter in life that we've been trying to get to for quite some time, adjust our beliefs accordingly so that we can receive it and get some major understanding and wisdom about ourselves and our situations that we've been missing, so that we can get the passion up here and the excitement for life, the zest back for life, perhaps that maybe we have been missing previously, in order for us to move forward and do these things that we like and enjoy and that we feel good about. All right, and I think that's all I'm going to say for now about this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius in very general terms, because that's all I want to say for now. I am going to go back in time for a minute before I go forwards here in order to give you the context of this time period, so that you can see how we got here and why this is now a thing that's come up in the astrology in order to be worked out or assessed. Okay, and to go back to give you that context, I'm going to go back to, surprise, surprise, the last solar eclipse, which was in Sagittarius in December of last year, 2020. Okay, I want to go back to that because, again, solar eclipses are big deals that herald major events. So I want to go back to that to show you how it leads up to now. What was that eclipse about? Well, I think that eclipse in December of 2020 was about us starting solar new, starting to step into some new, better, and blessed chapter in life, away from a lot of trauma and a lot of hardship and a lot of abuse that persisted for all of 2020 and for many, many, many years prior, while Saturn and Pluto were making their way to coming to a conjunction. Okay, I think that's what that was about, which is not unfamiliar to you if you've been following my videos over the course of the past few months. Okay, but even though I do believe that some new, better, and blessed chapter in life started to come in December of last year, I believe that we had difficulties fully accessing this new chapter in life since then, particularly in January of 2021 at that new moon in Capricorn, and February of 2021 at that new moon in Aquarius, both of which were a bit difficult, presenting roadblocks to this new chapter in life that was really here and coming. What were those roadblocks that presented themselves in January and February of this year? In my opinion, they were a lot of low self-esteem, self-sabotage, feelings of victimization, over-attachment to an old identity and old things in your life that were not good for you, that still had not been cut out fully, that needed to be cut out, that were bringing us down big time, preventing us from moving forward. But even though those were very hard times and new moons, I do believe that at the following new moon, a month later, March of 2021, right about here at that new moon in Pisces, we were finally able to fix a lot of those roadblocks, and to overcome them, and to do more real healing from the trauma and abuse of the past, so that we could move on feeling more at peace. Okay, and because in March we were able to heal and overcome a lot of these things from the past, we then in April of 2021 here at the new moon in Aries, right about here, we're finally able to step into this new, better, and blessed chapter in life that began to show itself in December 2020, which of course would make sense because that is the first sign of the zodiac in the astrological new year. Okay. Because the new chapter in life finally started to reveal itself in real, tangible ways in April of 2021, we then, in May of 2021, 2 weeks ago, at that last new moon in Taurus, right about here, I suppose, began to sustain this new chapter in life, to hold on to it, so that we could make it more fertile and make it more grow in the best ways that it is that we could. And because a new chapter in life has now arrived and we're trying to hold on to it, to sustain it, we now get to this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, of which this video is for. We now are trying to more fully complete the setup of this new chapter, complete the start of the new chapter, and fit all the new things in that it is that we need in order to bring everything together. Not only now with this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius are we trying to complete the setup of the new chapter in life now that it's here and we're sustaining it, but we are also trying to understand more about ourselves, our past, what we've been through, and where we've going, where we want to go in order to bring things together. And we're also trying to increase our belief systems here about our life and what's going on and what we're worthy of as well, so that we can continue bringing things together, enjoy where we are, and live it more passionately, if you will, and more excitedly. All right. And that's it. That's all I want to say in terms of the context, because that leads us up to now this point. But before I move forward, giving you more details now about this eclipse in particular, I do just want to repeat that one more time, because that was a lot. That was 6 months of really big, heavy, I think, karmic stuff. I think we're in just a destined time period right now in general, because that was a lot. So I want to repeat that one more time. What I think has been going on over the course of the past 6 months is this. We've been trying to step into some new, better, and blessed chapter in life, but it's been hard to do for a lot of reasons, a lot of things from the past: low self-esteem, victimization, over attachment to old things in our life that hadn't been cut out. And we recently have finally healed from those blockages, overcome them, started to see the new chapter in life more fully manifest, and begun to sustain it. And because we have finally seen the new chapter in life begin and started to sustain it, we are now trying to complete the setup of the new chapter in life so that it can more fully be a thing, be a presence in our lives, and so that we can enjoy it and receive more of it and get our beliefs in the right place in order to move forward on it in a different way after this, in the ways that it is that we need. Okay, so that's what I'll say there. It's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. It is, to say it in a different way, it's the completion of a 6-month journey here to finally get us on this new chapter in life and complete it and fit everything in it that we really truly need in order to move forward. Okay. which is it's kind of meta. It's kind of meta, right? Like I see it two ways. I see this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius as the completing of the new chapter we've been trying to set up in our lives, which will be with us for many years to come after this, but it's also the getting of more new things into the new chapter in order to move it onward. So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both, in addition to the beliefs and the wisdom and the understandings that we're getting as well. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Now what I want to do is to go into more detail here about this eclipse in general and how it's going to play out now and over the course of the next few days, weeks and maybe months. To do that, I'm going to go more specifically into some of the alignments that are happening now. Now, normally what I would start with are the specific alignments that the lunar eclipse is making itself to planets, but I'm actually going to talk about those last and go first to other aspects happening now. I'm going to go first to other aspects happening now because some other aspects that are happening now are very significant, alignments that also don't happen that terribly often. So I'm going to go out to those, which I think are super important to give you the context and then move back inwards. Okay, where do I want to start? I want to start here with both Venus and Mercury, which are coming conjunct around the time of this eclipse here in Gemini, making a square over here to Neptune in Pisces. Okay, especially as Mercury, I should note, is now in pre-retrograde shadow, about to go retrograde within days after this eclipse. I think 3 days, around Friday after this. What is this about? The first thing I want to say is that this is a difficult thing. Right? Why is it a difficult thing? We've now got Mercury about to go retrograde, and we've got a square here, both of these things which are hard, and we've got Neptune involved, which especially by square is difficult. But we've got Neptune involved, which can be a little bit hard for the logical mind, Mercury, to understand. You know, Neptune and Mercury don't quite get along. So what is this bringing here? Well, Neptune, I should note, when it goes badly, brings confusion. It also brings sadness, especially with Mercury about to go pre-retrograde. And it also brings emotional sensitivity, which can manifest in a variety of ways. You know, this could be crying. This could just be feeling very vulnerable. Could just go in a variety of ways. Either way, there's a lot of sadness, a lot of confusion here that could be going on, and a lot of emotional sensitivity that does look a bit unpleasant. Okay, why is this going on at a full moon lunar eclipse in happy, joyful Sagittarius? Why is this going on? Well, with Neptune being involved in its home sign Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac, is because the past, especially with Mercury about to go retrograde, go backwards, I think we're feeling quite uncomfortable here because even though we are stepping into more fully a new chapter in life and completing that, something from the past does not feel right. Something from the past does not feel like it's where it should be in the ways that it needs in order for us to fully move forward in a more carefree way, embracing this new chapter in life that is now very close to becoming more of a reality. What is this thing from the past that is missing or is not done right? With Venus being involved, it does look like it's a thing from the past in regards to a relationship of some sort, because Venus is the planet of relationships, or with money as well, because Venus has to do with that. It looks like it's something from the past with relationships and money that is not right, that is now weighing on us, that we feel like we can't move forward into a new chapter until we fix. Okay, what else? What else about this thing from the past with relationships and money that is not right? Mercury. Because Mercury and Venus are now conjunct. It's about something from the past with relationships and money that was not communicated, clearly, that was not communicated properly, that was not communicated fully, that was not communicated with integrity. It's something from the past with relationships and money that was not communicated at all or right, that now we feel like I cannot move forward. I cannot move into this new chapter in life until that is fixed. That is fixed. And because it's not fixed quite yet, okay, and because there's still something from the past bringing us down, sad, confused, a little bit upset about it as well. Okay, I want to note before I move forward, giving you more information, this could be something that you need to fix. You didn't communicate something with someone and you need to go back to do, or it could be something that someone did to you, someone that they didn't communicate right with you that you may be hoping to receive. Could go either way, not for me to say. It's just that the key point here is that we all want to move forward into some new and better chapter in life, but we feel like we cannot do it because something from the past with relationships and money has not fully been resolved, has not fully been communicated clearly, properly, correctly, in the ways that it is that it needs, slowing us down, bringing lots of emotions here. Anything else I want to say? You know, this just came to me. I don't normally talk about this in my videos, but I have talked to a few people lately who have had health concerns who have come to me for personal readings. I should also note as well, Mercury is the planet of health, being correlated naturally to Virgo, and it is involved in this alignment. So some of you too could also have things from the past about health matters as well that weren't communicated properly or clearly as well, about things that you've been feeling that have been weighing on you, or could be health information that hasn't quite come to light as well, that you may also be confused about or working through at this time. Okay, other things that I want to say before I move forward on this alignment is that not only is this something from the past with relationships and money and now health, I'm going to add that now onto my list, with relationships, money, and health that was not communicated clearly or properly, that's weighing on us, that either we didn't communicate right or wasn't communicated right to us. Okay, that's stopping us from moving forward, but that this thing that doesn't look like it was communicated quite properly does look to me like it might be related to something that happened in January and February. Okay, not that it couldn't extend beyond that, like the end of last year, this thing that wasn't communicated right, but I do feel like it's probably related to something around January and February that needed to be done but didn't, or was only done halfway when it needed to be done more. Another point that I want to make, sorry, I'm adding a lot of extra points here on this. The thing that was not communicated properly, that is now weighing on us, preventing us from moving forward, that I do feel is connected to January and February, could have been something that wasn't communicated at all. There was just no communication, or it could have been something that was communicated a little, but not a lot. It was a false start. We're going to do something and then it fell through, or a false ending. We were going to end it, but we didn't. Okay, I want to note that. Another way that I also want to put this as well, to keep giving you different ways of thinking of it, is that not only to me is this something from the past with relationships, money, and our health perhaps, that wasn't communicated at all, properly, clearly, or fully, especially around January and February. But to me, these things that weren't communicated do look like endings or beginnings. So, or a change. It looks like to me whatever wasn't communicated clearly and properly around January and February was that you wanted to end something, a relationship, a job, something with the health that wasn't fully ended, that you didn't fully follow through on the ending of, or you wanted to begin something, a relationship, a job, a health situation that wasn't fully begun, that wasn't fully communicated about properly, that now you want to fix. Or it could be also a change. There was some kind of change you wanted to make in January and February that wasn't fully made, that wasn't fully done, and something that you were already in that you didn't want to end that also wasn't done as well. Either way, the point here is that there is something very significant, very, very, very significant from the past that was not where it needs to be with relationships, money, or with our health in a way that we can feel at peace about, which is now stopping us, blocking us from fully moving forward into some new chapter in life, completing it and receiving all of what it has to offer, all of the blessings of it. Okay, that's making us very sad and very confused. Not only is this making us very sad and very confused, but with the Saturn, which recently went retrograde in the days before this eclipse, it's making us feel very heavy and very pressured and very restricted. Because again, there's this feeling of, I can't move forward until I go backwards. I can't move forward until I fix this. Okay, it's making us feel very, very restricted here as well. Why is this making us feel very, very, very restricted? Because Saturn Saturn, when planets station to change, or when planets change directions, they emphasize what that planet is all about. Saturn is the planet of decisions, and it's the planet of commitments here. So especially as it gets closer to making its second square here to Uranus and Taurus this year over the course of the next week or two after this. So what does this mean to me? Just to continue bringing it together here, that we are trying to move forward into some new, better, and blessed chapter of life that we were trying to get to for quite some time, but that something from the past was not done right, not ended right, not begun right, not changed right, which was a big communication problem here that is now weighing on us, preventing us from moving forward, making us feel sad, confused, and sensitive. And this thing that's making us feel sad, confused, and sensitive is weighing on us and is requiring absolute necessity, in my opinion, with Saturn here, to make a decision about. It's requiring us to make a decision about in order to face, in order to go back to fix. Or to not. But if you don't fix it, right, there's going to feel something's missing. So this is an absolute necessity. We're having to make a decision now to go back to fix something that wasn't right in order for us to move on. Okay. And again, this decision is not an easy one. This is Saturn square Uranus. This decision is not an easy one to make. Why is this decision not an easy one to make? Because some of the things that we're ending or beginning may surprise some people, may upset some people that we love, that we care about, that we want to be with. Okay, not only could this be a very hard decision to make because we may have to upset some people with these things we end that weren't properly ended before, with these things that we begin or change, because it does look like it's a bit unexpected here, but also because we may have to what? Swallow our pride. You know, I mean, Aquarius has to do with that. Sometimes we may have to swallow our pride here to go back to these old things and say, look, I'm sorry I didn't say this sooner. You know, I'm sorry I didn't say this sooner. I'm sorry I didn't let you know sooner. I'm sorry I said this sooner and made you believe one thing when really it was another, you know. So there's a lot of difficulty now about having to go back to fix this thing that's been a problem, that can be really, 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 really hard for us. And bring what? This feels crisis, feels some kind of internal crisis. Now know that what's a crisis to you may not be a crisis to someone else, or that your crisis may be a bit easier than other people's, but this does feel a bit of an internal struggle, an internal crisis of some sort. What do I do? I want to move forward into some new chapter, but something from the past is not right that now I have to go back to fix. But I feel bad about going back to fix it because I didn't do it sooner, and I said this, and now I'm scared. And you know, what if I upset this other person? So there's a lot of that going on here, and I think what we're going to have to learn to do now, to give you some advice, for one, is to trust our intuition, to surrender first and to trust our intuition here, with the Neptune influence in this square to Mercury, because Neptune is the planet of those things, of listening to our intuition and surrendering, especially with Mercury now going retrograde. And with Mercury going retrograde, we're having to ease off on the logic. The logic isn't working. Okay, the logic is not going to work. We're having to trust our intuition about what needs to happen here and surrender to the process. Not only that, but Pisces is a sign of compassion. It's a sign of compassion. It's a sign of forgiveness. So not only do we need to trust our intuition about whatever needs to happen and surrender to whatever needs to occur for the highest good of all, but we also need to as well be kind to ourselves, forgive yourself for not doing this sooner, forgive yourself for not doing these things that maybe you needed to do, and be very compassionate when dealing with these previous issues with yourself and others as well. Okay, we need to do that. Trust, surrender, listen to our intuition, not only, and be kind to ourselves and others, especially with Jupiter now in Pisces as well. Not only that, but with the eclipse in Sagittarius, to go back to that, beliefs. We need to change our beliefs. We need to change our beliefs here to be more abundant, to be something that allows us to go back, that allows us to go back to fix these old things in a better way in order to receive more abundance into our lives. And to not only adjust our beliefs, but to use the wisdom that we've gained over the years in order to better inform our life and what it is that we are working through. Okay, we really need to do that. Okay. And if we can do that, I think we're going to be fine. If we can do that, I think we're going to be fine. And I think that we are going to get the strength here and the courage up in order to go back to these things and to move them forward and to fix them so that we can move on. Why would I think that? Well, a few reasons why I would think that. Let me erase my chart. Now I'm going to go into the aspects that the eclipse is making itself. A few reasons why I would think that we are going to get the courage up to do it is because Sagittarius is involved here. And this is a lunar eclipse, and Sagittarius really magnifying the Sagittarian energy. And Sagittarius is a very optimistic, happy-go-lucky kind of energy. It has blind faith at times. It just does things and it believes it's going to do it. And it's a fire sign, which is very instinctual and very passionate. So even though there is a lot of challenging energy here about something from the past that wasn't done right or fully that we now need to fix, I do believe we're going to surrender like we've been trying to do since that new moon in Taurus. If you watched my last video, we're going to trust our intuition. We're going to be kind to ourselves and others. We're going to adjust our beliefs, and that is going to give us that Sagittarian happy-go-lucky optimism in some way, or courage or boldness or fire in order to go get what needs to be gotten and move it forward. Not only do I think that, but this eclipse is also making an aspect to Chiron, which includes a trine over here to Chiron and Aries from the moon, but also with the full moon being a function of the moon and the sun, Chiron making a sextile over here to the sun in Gemini. And this to me is very, very helpful here, helping us to what? Chiron. Alleviate Chiron some wounds about acting, wounds Chiron about acting Aries towards the things that we desire, helping us alleviate the issues, the challenges that have been keeping us stuck from moving forward for so long. So I really do believe here that we're going to do it. There is a struggle. There is something from the past that's not right, hasn't been ended, hasn't been begun, hasn't been changed fully in the way that we need, but we are going to do it and move forward. Overcoming fears, big deal here with this. Overcoming fears, overcoming anxieties, overcoming issues, overcoming blockages, so that we can move on. Okay, which I think is going to be very positive. And not only that, but with this lunar eclipse square Jupiter in Pisces, which is the ruler of the eclipse, because the eclipse is in a Jupiter ruled sign. Us moving forward, conquering our fears, mastering our fears in some way here to go back in order to go forward is then going to help us feel quite relieved with the Jupiter and Pisces, especially because Jupiter loves to be in Pisces. It's going to make us feel quite relieved. It's going to make us feel quite good about what's going on here. It's going to help us, once we get the courage up, to release and heal more old things Pisces from the past, and to also Jupiter and Pisces feel like a new person, feel like a totally different person by the end of this, day and night from just a few months and years ago. It's going to help us to feel like we are healed, overcoming old things and moving on very, very, very differently in the ways that it is that we need. So I'm very optimistic about it as we move forward. Okay. Does that mean, maybe before I move on, does that mean that whatever we get the courage up to do, to go back to the past, does that mean that it's going to, does that mean that whatever we go back to the past, does that mean it's going to work out in our favor for all of us? No, it doesn't mean that it's going to work out in our favor for all of us. In some way, I do think some of us are going to be surprised with some ending that maybe we weren't expecting, or some news we weren't expecting that may drastically change our life. It just means that by us getting the courage up to rework these things and to go back to get the answers that we need, that it is going to be what we need to push us finally into some new chapter in life and into some different experience and some different feeling that we've been needing to get to for a while. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say there. I do want to give more details and more examples of how this is going to play out. But before I do that, I want to repeat. I want to repeat because I think that's all I want to mention in this video. Yeah, I think that's all I want to mention. Yeah, there's the quincunx to Uranus. There's some nervousness there. But okay, so what I think is going on during this time period is this. We're so close to stepping more fully into some new, better, and chapter in life that we've been working towards for the past 6 months and sealing the deal and making it complete. But even though we are so close to stepping into some new, better, and blessed chapter of life, something from the past feels wrong. Something from the past with relationships, money, or possibly our health was not communicated clearly, properly about what is actually happening, about what we actually feel, and about what we actually need that's preventing us from moving forward into this new chapter in life. Because something from the past was not communicated properly in the way that it is that we need, that's now stopping us from receiving our full blessings. We feel quite sensitive, confused, sad, and emotional about how this could have happened and about why it hasn't been fixed quite yet, and very, very heavy and very pressured here in order to go back to fix it, which can be, again, difficult, not only because something from the past wasn't right, but because now we may have to swallow our pride to go back to rework some things in order to move forward. But out of that frustration, that sadness, that anxiety, all that deep, uncomfortable emotion, something within us changes and clicks. Something within us changes and clicks here in order to trust our intuition, surrender to the process, be kind to ourselves, adjust our beliefs, and go for what needs to be done, go for what needs to be fixed and needs to be reworked. And us overcoming the fears and overcoming the emotions and going for what needs to be reworked, to rehash it, rediscuss it, especially as Mercury goes retrograde over the next 3 weeks, is then going to forge the way more fully to a new chapter in life, very new feelings and very different experiences than what we have had prior to this point. Okay. Okay, and that's what I want to say there. Any other notes that I want to make? Okay. Yeah, there are a few things I want to say. Maybe I'll give you some examples and that'll help me bring some other pieces together. Doing videos as Mercury is retrograde is always interesting because my mind just runs away with me sometimes. So I want to give you some examples. What could this be? What could be going on here at this new moon, solar eclipse, full moon, lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, is that you could want to move forward here into a different experience in life, but there could be something from the past here that isn't right. This could be something that wasn't ended, something that wasn't began, or something that wasn't changed. So I'll start with the endings to give you some examples there. This could have been a relationship from the past that wasn't ended. Maybe some of you are in personal romantic relationships and have been with people for quite some time. Maybe you really like this person. Maybe you don't, but maybe you do. Maybe you really like this person, but you do not feel they are meant for this next journey that you are about to go on, for the person that you are becoming, for the person that you are growing into. Maybe you've been dragging your feet to end that relationship, especially since January and February. Maybe you've been dragging your feet to end that relationship because you didn't want to hurt the person, that you were involved with, and because you were still figuring yourself out and all of that. Well, now that comes back to you. Now you realize I can't drag my feet anymore on ending that personal relationship with this person. I have to end it now. I have to go back to end it in order to finally get my new blessings and my new chapter and to move forward. That's something that could come up now. If this isn't ending a personal relationship, this could be ending a job. Maybe some of you have been in a job for maybe quite some time, or maybe since January and February, that you haven't quite liked, that just hasn't quite felt right, but you haven't done anything about it. Well, now what happens at this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is you could realize, this job isn't for me. This job is not what I want the next chapter of my life to be. It is not meant for my new chapter of my journey. And you may have to go back here to end that job, to get rid of it, to quit it, so that you can find something else that's more meant for you. Okay, if this isn't the ending of that, it can be the beginning of something. Say that there was a job that you never really began in January and February and beforehand that you really wanted in order to move forward. Maybe you never began this job because maybe they weren't hiring at the time, or were having staffing issues, or maybe you never began the job because you never applied. You never applied for the job in some way. Well, now what could happen this month is that job, you could finally begin a job you never began, or that job could come back to you in order for you to move it forward, finally, in a better way. If this isn't the beginning of a job that never quite got off the ground in January and February, and possibly prior, this could be a relationship. Maybe there was a relationship you meant to start in January and February that just never quite happened, that just never quite was communicated about what was going on and what the feelings were and what was happening. So what else could go on now is that this month you could realize, I cannot move forward in this new chapter in life without this person, without this relationship, without knowing what's going on with them, without knowing whether or not this can work, that you then might now have to go back to begin more properly with the proper communication in order to move forward on there. Okay, say this isn't an ending or beginning. Maybe this is just a change. Maybe there was something in January and February in regards to a personal relationship that just needed to change. You didn't want to end the relationship, and there was no need to start it because you were already in it. Maybe there was something with your partner that you just didn't like, a behavior that they had, a thing they would say to you, something that they would do, and maybe you wanted that relationship to change in January and February, but you never spoke about it. And now what may happen is you go back to that relationship and you finally speak up and you finally say, hey, I don't like it when you do that. Please stop. Please stop, or this is not going to work. You go back to that relationship in order to kind of fix it, to move things forward. If this isn't personal, again, this can be professional. Maybe it is a job. Maybe you don't want to leave your job. Maybe you like your job. Then this could be you going to your employer that you meant to do in January and February and possibly prior that you didn't, and saying, hey, employer, this job ain't working for me. I don't like this position. Can I have another position, please? Or this money isn't working for me. I've been here for how long? I've been doing this. You haven't given me a raise yet. I need a raise. Come on. And you go back and you have that conversation. You restart it now in order to see if it can be fixed and changed in order for you to move onwards. So it could be that. Same could apply, again, with a variety of other situations in your life and with health situations. Maybe there was some kind of health situation that wasn't fully fixed in January and February, that wasn't fully, you didn't get the right methods of healing from that health situation. So maybe you need to revisit a health situation from that time as well in order to get more clarity about what the health problem is, and in order to get the right methods of treatment in order to move forward, and for you to speak with more clarity here about what is going on and what you feel and all of that in order for you to move onward. So can also work with that as well. Okay, the point here is not to really hit all your situations and all your scenarios, because this can play out in a variety of different ways, just to simply explain what is going on here. And that is that we want to step into a new chapter in life, but we feel we can't because something from the past was not ended properly, that needed to end, was not began properly, that needed to begin, was not changed properly, that needed to be changed. And that was because something was not communicated, some information was not shared properly in the way that it is that it needs to be about our feelings, about our situation, about what's going on, that we now have to do. Cannot move forward unless we go back to do that. And once we do that, more blessings and more new chapter in life is going to come in its completeness. Okay, so if some of you have been feeling stuck, Or if some of you have been feeling like no blessings have been coming in at all, that is the reason why. It's because something from the past is not done. And once the thing from the past gets done, either the blessings are going to start to come in, or that maybe have been delayed, or the blessings are going to come in more in their fullness. Okay, I do want to note, however, that the blessings that are going to come into me, this is a lunar eclipse, seem more related to things from the past that have been held up and blocked, instead of things from the future that are now going to unfold. The blessings, whatever blessings come to you now, seem related to things from the past now that have been hidden from you, or just have been in the works, and not so much things to come after this. Okay. Anything else that I want to say? Yes, I want to repeat this again. This can go both ways. So you may be the person that did not end something with someone that you need to go back to communicate, or that did not begin something with someone that needs to go back to communicate. Some of you are very well that person. Okay, if it's not you, then you may be the one on the receiving end of that. You may be the one who says, I don't need to communicate anything to anyone. I've done my best to do everything I could to share information. They need to tell me where they're at. They need to tell me what's going on. So some of you could be on the receiving end of this and not need to do any of this other than just hope, have faith. Sagittarius, Jupiter and Pisces, have faith that something will come to completion in regards to this answer, and that you haven't been getting, in order for you to move onwards, which I do believe it will. Okay, so it can go a variety of ways. Again, not for me to say, just for me to explain. This can be an ending, a beginning, or a change. You can be on the initiating end of that, or you can be on the receiving end of that. I can't say just from this alone. It's up to you. Okay. Other things that I want to note as well. This does look unexpected. What this means is that if you're delivering some news that wasn't communicated, you could surprise this person. You could surprise this person with an ending, a beginning, or a change. This also means too that, and it may surprise you that you realize now that this is something that needs to happen. Okay, not only if you're giving the news may it be a surprise, but if you're receiving the news, it may also be a surprise as well. You may be surprised by an ending, a beginning, or a change. Okay, I should also note as well, again, to continue hopefully bringing more clarity here, that this ending, beginning, or change, some will be very positive. Some of you will be like, thank God, I've been waiting for this person, to end or begin, or I've been waiting for this. And some of you may be sad about it. I didn't want this person to end this relationship with me. I didn't want to have to make this change. Some of you could be very sad or hurt about it as well. The point here is not for me to say. Again, another thing I can't say, it's up to you to use your intuition to determine here, but it can go either way. The whole point, though, is that whatever is ended during this time period, taken away from you or brought to you, is to trust it, to trust that whether it's good or bad, it is what you need, what your soul needs in order to grow, in order to move forward into a different chapter in life. Okay, and to accept that. Which is a whole other message here, especially if this is a negative thing that occurs to you. If you're surprised by an ending, maybe I want to talk to you people in particular, which could happen during this time period. There is a need to understand that that was not meant for your next chapter of your life. If there's a bad thing that ends or a bad thing that begins, right? It could go either way, that you're not happy with. I think there is a need to come to terms with that. Accept it for what it is during this time period, especially with all the Pisces influence and the Neptune stuff, and to trust that it is going to be meant for you. Because good things can come from bad things. I know that's a hard message, and not everyone wants to hear it, but good things can come from bad things. And sometimes bad things are our biggest teachers to help us move forward. How many times have there been really difficult stories that you'll read in the news about really bad situations that actually turned out to be really, really good ones? I got in this horrible accident, with my car and was paralyzed. But out of that, I now help other people. I've now learned all these other things. I've written all these books, so that's just one example. Maybe some of you are getting bad health news during this time period. It could be good health news for some of you. Keep that in mind. It could be bad health news. And I want you to know that even the bad here, especially at a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, happy Sagittarius is meant to bring some good out of it even if you can't see it right now down the line. So that's a message I definitely feel for some of you, because I do like to be very happy and optimistic, and I have been in the past 6 months. My videos after this solar eclipse in Sagittarius that happened last December, but I do have to be real here, that at the end of the day, not everyone on the planet is going to be getting great Sagittarius stuff. Okay, it's just not realistic, and we all interact differently with Sagittarius. Some of us are going to get bad things that have happened during the past 6 months and that may still happen now, but trust and know that whatever bad thing happens is meant for your highest good, is meant to bring you in a new chapter in life, and will teach you something very important to your journey from here on out, because that is what Sagittarius does. Teaches, brings understanding, and brings even bad things for good. So keep that in mind. Okay. Anything else that I want to say? Yes, I have 2 things top of mind here. Hopefully I don't forget the second one. The first one here is, why was this not said earlier? Why was this not said earlier here? Why did you not say something earlier to end this thing or to begin this thing that is or is not meant for this new chapter of your life? Or why did someone else not say it to you sooner? Well, that to me goes back to January, February, the difficulties that were going on then, which was the first time that Saturn in Aquarius came into a square with Uranus and Taurus. What was going on at that time? Self-sabotage. What was going on at that time? Low self-esteem. What was going on at that time? I think fear, pain. So I think that a lot of the reasons why things were not communicated to you properly many months ago, or why you didn't communicate them properly, was mostly not because people were trying to be mean to you and trying to be malicious and wanted to hurt you and didn't like you and wanted to one-up you. It wasn't that. It was because I think these people, whether it's you or someone else, were hurting. We're still healing some things, had some issues, if you will, their own personal issues that were going on, and just a lot of things, and maybe even some confusion about their own selves and who they are and their future and what was important to them too, that was making it difficult. But because we have healed since January and February, remember the new moon in Pisces and new moon in Aries, because we have healed a lot of those fears and insecurities and things that were keeping us stuck in January and February, now we or the other people in our lives are healthier. They're healthier, they're stronger, more in their power now, able to come back and recommunicate things that they didn't before in a better way, with more of a backbone, if you will, or with more of a spine, or with more confidence, in order to kind of move things forward. So don't assume that the reasons why these things weren't communicated properly was because someone was trying to be mean to you. A lot of the times it's because there were a lot of things probably going on within your soul, within their soul, that needed to be worked out, that now have been resolved, therefore leading to the return of these old things to be handled from a stronger place in order to be dealt with. Okay, the next thing that I want to say is that once this stuff comes to light, once what is ended needs to be ended and comes back, and whatever needs to be begun starts to begin and come back, and whatever needs to be changed. With Mercury about to go retrograde right before a new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, a lot of conversations are going to need to be had about it. So it's not just, hey, let's end this thing, I'm done, bye. And hey, let's begin this thing, and okay, now let's make it happen. It's no, it's we're gonna end this thing. Now let's have conversations. Let's have conversations about what you're really feeling, how you both feel, why this wasn't ended sooner, what happened here. Okay, not only are these conversations about an ending, but this is also conversations about a beginning too. Where were you before? What was going on before? What do you want next? How do we work together? What is this gonna look like? It's just a lot of conversations here to gather more information about what's going on. So don't think here that once you go back to the past to recommunicate or fix something that's going to be one and done. No, Mercury goes retrograde for about 3 weeks here, and having an eclipse in Gemini, this is going to start whatever you go back to fix now in order to move forward is going to start a series of conversations that are going to need to be had to fully understand here the situation and what was actually happening in order to move it forward. Okay, so don't force yourself so don't pressure yourself to do things right away. Once you start these conversations, know that they may take a few weeks in order to move forward. And 3 weeks is not that long, okay? Like 3 weeks is not that long in order to talk to some people, right? Like in order to talk to some people about who they are and what they're feeling. And not a big deal. Have the conversations, okay? Does not mean that people are going to go back on their word. I strongly feel that whatever comes up at that eclipse whatever comes up at the eclipse, here, whatever news from the past is recommunicated stands. That stands. You know, once information is shared, things change. Okay, so I do believe that conversations need to be had once something from the past is started to be worked through. But these conversations are not to revert whatever was initially said and go back to the way things were. What was initially said stands. The conversations are now to gather information about that and what that means and what that looks like and how it can best be handled and dealt with in the most stable way moving forward and helpful way moving forward. Okay, the other thing that I want to say as well is that even though this news may be either good or bad, could be both, depending on your situation, use your intuition, I feel strongly that there will be some kind of, again, positive outcome or amicable outcome in the long-term future, yes, but especially in the short-term future. Why? Because Jupiter is in Pisces now, and Jupiter in Pisces is very forgiving, again, very compassionate, and because Sagittarius is a very happy sign as well. So what that means to me is that once this thing comes up, whether it's good or bad, and once you start to have the conversations about it, something accepting it for what it is, not reverting it back, but accepting it for what it is, something helpful will come out of it, or you will be able to work together with other people in some way. Okay, once the information comes out and is talked through. What does that mean? Maybe to give you a more concrete example, let's say that you're ending a relationship with someone, okay, and you surprise someone with that. Hey, this isn't working for me. You're not meant for the next chapter of my life. You need to leave. Maybe say it more tactfully than that. Once that occurs here, there is a longer conversation that needs to happen there, and that conversation that occurs after that initial news is shared is not going to revert back. You're going to still want to end the relationship no matter what, but that through those conversations, you can figure things out. Okay, if we're going to end the relationship, the personal relationship here, and this is no longer a thing, let me help you. You know, we live together. Let me help you move out. Let me help you find a new place to live. Let's work these things with our friends, right? And whose friends are whose? Because when you're in a relationship, that gets kind of confusing. You know, like let's try to figure that out as well. So there's some of that. It's not just we're ending a relationship. Bye. You're left out with the wolves. Fend for yourself. It's no, we're ending a relationship. Let me see if I can help you not be back together with me, but get on your feet as you move forward. Same with a job in some way. So if this is you ending a job, it's not you ending the job and things being horrible in some way. It's you ending the job and or a job ending things with you. I should also say that some of you can get surprised by jobs letting you go. If it's a job letting you go, then I feel like there's still something amicable there where you or the company will say, let's write a recommendation for you. You know, we can't hire you, but let's write a recommendation to help you move forward, or we'll send your name to some other employers. You know, there's something I think very amicable that's going to come at the end of it here in order to bring things together. May take some conversations here, some honest conversations to gather the information here, but I do believe the conversations, if we can be patient as we work through them and compassionate, are definitely going to lead to some kind of amicable solution in some way. And I think it's going to lead to some amicable solution that may not be apparent at the beginning, that may not be apparent perhaps early on in some way, and that may even be better with the Jupiter stuff than what we originally thought would occur from such a situation. Okay, so I think those are a few points that it is that I wanted to make. Okay. Anything else I want to say? Yeah, I suppose the last thing I should say, I don't even know how long I've been going on here, but the last thing I should say here is that Sagittarius is the sign of the archer, the bow and arrow. It is, look, I mean, it's a symbol of an arrow here. And another way to put it, I suppose, like about this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, maybe this will be like a metaphor before I read your inside degree, is that a thing about this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is that it's about aiming. You know, there's something about my final thoughts here. There's something about this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius where even though we're realizing we have to go backwards in order to go forwards, and that there's something from the past that isn't right in order for us to move on, I do feel there is a strange sense of inner clarity amidst it all, even if we're emotional about the stuff from the past and how to work it. And I do feel that another thought is that out of this this stuff that occurs, right, I think we're going to get a strange sense of clarity that's going to help us to beeline arrow for what it is that we need in order to move on. So I think that's the last message that I'll give you there, is that even though this news that comes up about the past in order to bring it forward can be very shocking, for better or for worse, to yourself or to someone else, I do believe that it will work out in some way, shape, or form, regardless of what happens after a variety of conversations, and that it will bring a lot of clarity once and for all here that is going to help you more fully figure things out in your life and get it going more fully in a better way that it is that you need. Okay, and I think that's it. Now I'm going to go over your inside degrees. Okay. This full moon lunar eclipse is at 5 degrees Sagittarius, but I like 4 degrees better. So I'm just going to read that. You can read 5 degrees if you want. I'll leave it up here on the screen, but I'm going to read 4. What does it say? It says, seeking your own reflection, willing to go to any lengths to divest yourself of that which stands between yourself and your world. Okay, what does this mean to me? This means to me that at this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, of which this video is for, that we are reflecting, seeking your own reflection, reflecting on ourselves and our lives and what is and is not right in order for us to move forward into a different chapter in life. Okay, not only are we reflecting on that, but I want to say I think we are getting some answers. Not only at this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius are we reflecting on what is and is not where it needs to be in order for us to more fully embrace a new chapter in life, but we are getting some answers on things that are not where they need to be in order for us to move onwards. Okay, not only are we getting answers about what is and is not right, with that next line, I think we are also willing to go to any lengths to correct that, to correct what is not right, to correct what is preventing us from the past from moving forward in the ways that it is that we need. Okay, and because we are willing to correct it, now that we're realizing what it is, we are seeking a path, a practice, a journey in order to fix it. We're an arrow for it. We're trying to aim to a path, a practice, a journey here in order to fix what needs fixing from the past so that we can step into this new chapter and be more vitally engaged with life. Fire sign, Sagittarius. Okay. But even though there's a big but here, you can see it, it's the last thing you need. But even though we are realizing something that's not right in our life, in order for us to move forward, and willing to find a path, a practice, a journey, a how to fix it in order to move forward, even though that is going on, we are still hung up at the point of giving ourselves completely over. not acting, stalling for time, reaching for excuses, pulling in escapes and perpetuations of the status quo, lingering on the brink between one world and another. Which I think is what I described at the beginning of this video. There's a lot of confusion here about what's going on and about what needs to happen, and a lot of pressure. And I think we get that. We know something from the past isn't right. We really want to fix it. We really want to overcome it. But right before we do it here, we are scared, scared, stalling, escapes and excuses, propelled forward, but equally jerked backwards. Waiting for destiny to assert itself in a forward direction at the right time, whenever that is. And before that happens, we're stuck. Will I or won't I? Will I or won't I? Am I or am I not? Am I or am I not? Gonna end this relationship? Gonna begin it? Gonna end this job? Gonna fix it? Gonna get this news that I need? Will I or won't I here, which is keeping everything tense. There's a lot of that going on at this full moon. Fascinated and hopeful. So that's what's going on here. Maybe just to repeat that again, is that we are reflecting a lot in our life at this full moon eclipse in Sagittarius. We're realizing here something from the past is not where it needs to be in order for us to move forward. We're getting that answer. Not only are we getting that answer, but we want to fix it. We want to fix the thing that's not right and to figure out how. And we are coming up with how to fix it. But right before we actually act, we are stopping ourselves. We are lingering here on the edge of doing it and not doing it here. That is creating some problems. And we're waiting until destiny assert itself at the right time in order to move forward. When will destiny assert itself? Very soon. Okay, very soon, because this is an eclipse at this degree, around this degree of Sagittarius. And what do eclipses do? They end things. They complete things and they end things. Full moons, full moon eclipses. Okay, what are we ending here? Self-sabotage. We are ending excuses. We are ending escapes. We are ending perpetuating the status quo. We are ending lingering on the brink. We are ending being propelled forward and backwards at the same time. We are ending problems with timing. We've been ending problems with timing for about a month now, but we're ending them even more at this full moon lunar eclipse. So even though there is a lot of this struggle here with this inside degree, I got something I need to fix from the past. I want to do it, but I don't know. Am I or not? Am I ready? Am I not ready? What's going on here? I got to wait for the right time. Even though there is this struggle, the right time does assert itself very, very, very soon, within days, as Mercury goes retrograde after this full moon, and we end up, I think, going for it to fix these things. Because I don't think we can move on without getting these answers. I don't think we can move on without getting these answers that it is that we need. Okay. Anything I want to look at next? Sometimes I like to look at the opposite degree of the full moon because it's where the sun is, to see what the sun has to say. And I did like where the sun is this time around. The sun is going to be 5 degrees Gemini. And what do we have here? Okay, I liked both of these because just to show you something here, 5 degrees Gemini, I don't think I'm going to go too in detail on these, but 5 degrees Gemini and 6 degrees Gemini are both about following things out beyond your limits, coming upon the future, blown so wide open here, steely determination to come again to a place of freedom and presence. Letting go of any illusions, fragmentations, working those out, orchestrating vast shifts with yourself, you know, and where the sun is important, because where the sun is, the sign that the sun is in, Gemini is where the North Node is, and where the eclipse, the solar eclipse, which is more, I like solar eclipses better, is going to be next time period. So I'm telling you, there is a crisis surrounding this Sagittarius stuff during this time period. Am I going to get from the past what I need to move forward? Am I going to do it? Am I not? Am I not? How's it going to work out? That's hard. But I think we get the courage up here to make the changes in order to go for it here, so that finally the new life can begin and that we can move onwards. All right. And I think that's all I want to say. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull your card. Your card for this time period is the Nine of Swords upright. What is this about? The Nine of Swords is about anxiety, especially with the full moon quincunx Uranus. It's a lot about anxiety. It's a lot about nervousness that's going on here, nightmares, fears and frustrations. Maybe a lot of you are worried that like your worst case scenario is going to play out here. And I think that the message of this card here is there's no need to worry. I mean, first of all, when you worry, you suffer twice. Like there's no need to worry here, and worry is not going to help. You need to stop that and just, again, continue to trust your intuition and surrender to the process. Another thing here too is that I just got is like some of the worry is coming because the communication hasn't happened, and because you're afraid of what the communication will be and how it will go. But once you have the communication, the worry is going to subside because you're going to have the answers, and the answers that you need are going to bring you peace and clarity. So that's another thought that I want to say there. Like, there's no need to worry here. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Okay. And it's going to happen in the way that it needs to in order to propel you forward on some new chapter in life. So don't worry about it. And your worrying is actually creating the worry because you're not getting the answers that you need. And the answers from these people that you didn't communicate with, and the answers are going to set you free. Like the information is going to set you free. Not that the information that is revealed is going to be what you want the information to be, but it's going to be what sets you free. Because some of you may begin something and the other person may not want to begin it. Some of you the whole point is not how the other person is going to respond. The point here is that you say speaking sets you free. Speaking sets you free, and that's what needs to happen. So don't think about the outcome of these events. Don't think about the outcome. Not that there's not a need to think about that. It's always good to anticipate. But that focus on the speaking first, focus on the speaking of the truth and on getting that out, because that is going to set some other things in motion that are what you really need. And look at that. We've got the card at the bottom is the Six of Wands upright, which is actually a card of success and victory. So there's that. I feel like these cards, look, we've got the Sun upright next. I feel like these cards are kind of saying what I've already said. So I don't know, maybe I've done a good job at explaining some things. But these cards to me are indicating do not worry. Do not worry, because worry is making it worse. Just say what needs to be said. And once you say what needs to be said, things are going to work themselves out. Things are going to start to work themselves out. May not be in quite the way that you were hoping, but in a way that's very destined and very necessary for your path. And that I think is going to take on a little bit of a life of its own here to redirect you to something where you need to be, or to something even better to help you move on. That's going to make you quite happy in the end. Okay. So I think that's all I'm going to say there. I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a good eclipse, the best it can be, and I'll talk to you on the next video.